Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Theatre Pitch podcast. This is Sean.
Hello.
And this is Joe.
Evening.
And I am Jem, and together we take a random online encyclopedia article each episode, and we come up with the way that we would turn that into a theatre show, whatever that may be. And then at the end of the episode, we take all three ideas and we smush them together. And then you guys, listening, can tell us who's the better theatre pitcher. Just to add a little element of competitiveness. How have you guys found this article? Which, before we actually go into that, what is this week's article, Joe?
Well, this week's article is Intergalactic Dust. Intergalactic dust is cosmic dust between galaxies in outer space. Sorry, in between galaxies in intergalactic space. Evidence for intergalactic dust has been suggested as early as 1949, and the study of it grew in the late 20th century.
I'm very, very excited for this. I like space stuff.
Yeah, it's. I thought this week's one was a pretty fun one, actually. I think we're not. I think we're alone in our opinions on this.
Sean.
Hey, Sean, if you were in space, would no one be able to hear you scream?
I don't know. I've really struggled this week. I think I've had the fear of like doing a really bad pitch because I feel like I've been on a roll, and this week it seems it should have been so easy, but yeah, I didn't enjoy it this week whatsoever.
Talking of on a roll, I had a chip
evil...
butty for tea on Sunday.
The evil part of me really wants to make Sean go first.
On a Sunday?
Yeah.
You didn't have a roast?
No.
Okay. I'm not going
Look,
first.
you're not questioning
like...
the fact I had bangers and mash on a Wednesday, but you are questioning that I'd have a chip butty on a Sunday.
I have two rules. Okay, I have two rules, and the rules are roast dinner on a Sunday, obviously, and the other rule is
can I guess? Nothing with more than 3 colours.
No, you're such a twat. Jem, make him go first. Make him. No, right, no. I have more than 3 colours on a roast dinner, right?
How?
Sweet corn, carrots, roast potatoes, mashed potatoes, and then like gammon. That's a different colour. There we go. So, boom. At least.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm editing this out. This is not theatre related. Now, Joe, tell me your theatre pitch for Galactic Dust.
Yeah, Joe's actually got an idea this week.
Yeah.
So, Joe, what's your pitch?
So I'm going to use the time-honoured method that the two of you have used previously, which is providing also a theatrical reference point for this, which is that a few years ago, a playwright called Nick Payne produced a fantastic two-hander called Constellations that was about a romance between a cosmologist and a beekeeper, and within it, it was both about their relationship and about various kind of cosmic theories and about relating these two kind of disparate ideas. And I kind of want to explore that in the same way, because I think the very notion of intergalactic dust, as far as I see it from the article, is that this is the dust in between spaces. But also in the same way, particles throughout a space, everything is made up of atoms. So in a sense, one day everything becomes dust. Everything becomes dust in between something. This also very much heavily... you will think in a moment, yes, this is heavily cribbing the Christopher Nolan movie Interstellar. This is important to note. So my idea is that, in essence, I kind of want to explore a relationship falling apart, but in the moments in between the arguments. So what we in essence see is somehow kind of someone's attempt to rationalize it as being like, maybe it wasn't all bad, by seeing the moments when everything wasn't falling apart. but in essence, it's making it more painful by the knowledge of what's in between. And within this, we can kind of bring it into a cosmic scale of it's existing in... Obviously, everything exists within time and space, but the conversation doesn't have to just remain on a bland kind of like standard level. It can discuss philosophy, it can discuss space, it can discuss kind of big questions about where we are going as humanity. And in essence, the relationship itself is kind of an exploration of the kind of relationship is a metaphor for the way that essentially humanity is drifting away from the Earth, and that we need to be exploring potentially where to take humanity if we've actually possibly killed the Earth. And so that's my pitch.
Wow. Okay.
I'm waiting for the joke or the pun.
Nope, there's no pun coming this week. It's this is an actual play I'm pitching.
No,
God.
Sean, you got to remember that sometimes it's a joke, but every now and then Joe will have you in the thralls of a joke and then just truth bomb you.
And
I
then
like
then you're reminded, oh yeah, he has a script writing degree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
Cast-wise, are you imagining this as... Tell us a little bit more about how this... Because you've given a concept for for a story, but what's the practicalities of it?
Minimal cast, kind of. I'm not going to go down the pure two-hander route, because that would be too obviously cribbing from Constellations. But I'm thinking small, like, kind of 2 main cast, and then maybe 2 or 3... players kind of basically playing everyone else.
Okay, cool. And what's your regional theatre of the week?
My regional theatre of the week is I'm actually, for once, I'm breaking my own rules and I'm going into London for this one of Constellations. It debuted at the Royal Court. I love the Royal Court. It's there.
Okay.
It's a beautiful theatre.
And is it? Are you imagining that it stays a proscenium arch or a thrust, or do you want a black
proscenium
box,
arch as
or...
always, but it's an idea that kind of... I'm sure I've cribbed this from something else before, possibly actually from myself now I think about it, on the what was the DC character that we did the plays based on in series 1?
It was
the lantern.
It was the White Lantern. It was the life entity.
No, the what wasn't there like... Oh yeah, God Entity, wasn't it?
It was Life Entity.
Life Entity, yeah, that was it. But yeah, I'm stealing my staging essentially for that. I kind of want it to be done, laid out like a black box theatre in terms of the background, but there to be kind of just a sheet of LEDs in the background that kind of twinkle as if the stars.
Okay.
And the idea is we're going to kind of use projections and stuff to make this feel kind of like... It's going to occasionally verge into nerdy science lesson, but without ever getting too dry. And, relating to fun things like the fact of... the fun fact that all the stars are essentially dead. And that by the time the light gets to us, that's them exploding.
Wow. Okay, cool.
You just
Sean,
made me
have you
think.
got any other questions?
Just made me think of another idea. I've got 4 now.
Ooh.
4 really basic ideas.
You've got to pick one, Sean.
They're all really basic bitch ideas, though.
I have relationship drama that takes place in the scenes in between any kind of drama happening. That is also science lesson with a cosmic eco message to it. Any questions before we move on?
I can see this happening. I can see it happening, and I'm excited for being able to rip people's hearts out with it.
I like it, Joe. It's like the rom-com Reservoir Dogs. I like it. I'm more. Yes, I'm down. I quite like the idea of that. Yeah.
Joe,
Yeah.
Do you want to decide who goes next, Sean or
I love
me?
it when Joe. I love it when Joe tries because it's actually like really good.
I know. It's annoying. It's like it kind of feels like Joe doesn't try just to give us a chance.
Hey,
And then
Hey.
occasionally I try a little bit just to remind you what I'm capable of, and then I go back to saying some bollocks like, I don't know, it's about an old man who does a backflip and that's the show.
I loved that pitch. that
Yeah.
So
And because you loved it so much, Jem, I'd love to hear yours.
okay, all right. So I love space. I really, really love space to the point where, in prep for this, because I was so space focused, I managed to get one of my nephews for his two-year birthday. I got him a space projector. So everything's been space this week. But then I thought, you know what I want to do? My show is set in a planetarium. So it takes place in a planetarium. And whilst we're doing this custom planetarium show where we start on Earth and we push through from Earth through the things that we've discovered of like seeing the moon, seeing the stars and realizing what they are, and moving beyond and realizing, oh, that's a galaxy, and then these bits in between galaxies, and then discovering the dust and the particles that live in between galaxies, and the fact that it's not just this void. As we're doing that, we are told the story, and we've got a couple of actors who are performing essentially a very condensed version of scientists on their journey and on their mission to discover and go as far as we possibly can and learn about what's there. You know, what is as far, how far can we go, and what is there? So it's the story that you learn is kind of based in the history and actual historical facts of how we actually discover these things without being dry, because you enter to it through these two scientists. And I wanted it not to be a case of, oh, here's scientists putting on a planetarium show. No, it's more a case of the scientists come in and they are unaware that the audience is there. And the planetarium is their lab. And they are looking out, and so we follow with what we see in the planetarium. We follow how far they can go. So we go on this journey with them. And that I really wanted that idea of, you know, you can play with the friendship, you can play with this idea of how far can you go and what is there in this distance, and what is there that you don't know. And the want to get there, like that can be a metaphor for friendship, that can be a metaphor for life and relationships. But at the heart of it, I wanted to explore this feeling of on a mission to go as far as you possibly can and find out what is there, to finally discover intergalactic dust. You know, probably ending on a little monologue that is all about how we are dust in the wind. But yeah, in a planetarium, because I love planetariums and stars and stuff. And if we can get any of the great voices of science, communication, and education, I would be very pleased about that. That's my pitch. Any questions?
So yours is a lecture with a narrative.
No, it's not a lecture. It's not a lecture at all. It's set in a planetarium where there are normally lectures, but it's a case of you're sat in your seat, and then in burst these scientists who run up to that central booth, and they're interacting. It's just one of their days where they're like, okay, yesterday we discovered the moon, like let's push, what are those shiny bits, and we kind of go through this condensed idea of them finding eventually the intergalactic dust. If you remember, I think, Sean, you might have gone to it. There was an amazing show called Dark a few years ago. I can't remember.
You mentioned the thing I was going to talk about.
Got ya!
Didn't go
there was
to
an
that.
amazing show called Dark, and this idea that you explored storytelling, but in a setting that you're otherwise used to having, either peace and quiet or a narrative in that kind of way. But it's very much, it's looking through the human lens and that human journey of discovering the stars.
And it was pitch black. It was actually really good.
Yeah, Dark was really great. Mine's similar, but it's about the journey of finding dust, and you can see stuff because you can see the stars.
Yeah, Jem, I like it. It's definitely theatre. We're not going to ask you that question. When you said planetarium, I was like, oh no, don't do a lecture. Do not do a lecture. I don't want to. I don't want to have that conversation about theatre again.
No, I don't want a lecture. I just want to tell a story and have a little bit of a small theatre piece in and amongst the stars.
I get it.
I very nearly just pitched Stardust instead.
What, the Neil
But
Gaiman?
I felt Neil Gaiman should definitely have all of the credit for that, and I shouldn't try and nick it.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was trying to think during it, Sean. Do you remember at the Fringe a few years ago we saw it was a kind of live performance of a radio play. And it was kind of like a rom-com.
Time travel.
A time travel rom-com, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember its name, but I was just thinking of that kind of thing also seemed like it kind of worked in my head of like, it took a very kind of, I mean this in the nicest way of like, they took a very mundane approach to kind of big themes. And I kind of like that idea of taking what is basically kind of, this isn't like a kind of grand exploration to the stars through the eyes of the astronauts. This is taking kind of some people with a telescope and using that to tell the same story.
Yeah. And it's just it's also the fact that anybody can do it. Yeah, it kind of gets to it. There is a little bit of a ceiling on the equipment that you can use, but you can always weasel your way into equipment. I really like space, and I really wanted to encompass all of the passion about how cool space is.
Hey Gemma.
And yeah.
What's your favourite part of space?
I like the lifespan of stars, and this idea of how they expand and then contract, and the gravitational pull of what they do, and how you can bend light around and see where galaxies are and the lack of galaxy because of how light is bending.
Yeah. Out of interest,
I'm a real nerd when it comes to space.
Yeah. I was just thinking, further fun, kind of depressing space facts. Hey, Jem, do you know about Proxima B?
No.
Proxima B is the closest potentially inhabitable planet to the Earth, where it's the closest possible land to live on. But the interesting thing about it is that while technically the planet itself, its ecosystem is such that we could theoretically inhabit it with, kind of like...
Us.
Yeah,
Us.
but like kind of basically building an atmosphere there for us.
Yeah.
The problem about it is it's so close to the star Proxima Centauri that planet lashes the planet's surface with constant X-rays. So, So while you could live there, anyone who tried would probably die of radiation poisoning. Fun fact.
Oh, I like that fun fact. I thought for a second when you were when you said,
So
"Hey,
miserable.
do you know about this thing?" I thought you were gonna break my heart like Pluto did.
Well, there is the actual ironic thing is that kind of Proxima b, I think, is about the same size as Pluto.
Probably.
Because it's
Which is the
because it's an
hypocrisy.
exoplanet, not a full planet. It's important to note for this.
Yeah. Space is cool. I've never liked maths, but oddly when you talk to me about maths in space, I am suddenly fully on board.
That's the sequel to Maths, isn't it? Maths in space.
There you go.
What is it? Just like if they're like, "Hey, I bet Neil Armstrong would like to know what the answer to 3 times 5 is."
No. It's more like when you sit there and you start talking about theoretical
15.
physics and how light is bending and how that's actually just a mathematical equation that we actually use. Then I'm super interested.
Yeah. Hey Sean, have you got a fifth idea yet?
I've got I think I'm down to 3 because Gemma may have accidentally said one of my ideas and she doesn't even know.
This is why I was like, no, he's gaining ideas. I must tell mine.
I've lost a really poor idea.
In that case, Sean, why don't you pitch us your other 3, what I'm sure are great ideas?
No, right. So this is going to be a bloody disaster because you guys have got like really deep shit, okay, and really thought about it. And mine is like, why don't we do this?
Well, let me guess. An old man does a
space.
backflip in space.
In space, he does more than one because there's no gravity. He just keeps going.
Whoa!
So my obvious one is have you ever seen the film Stardust?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Why is that not like a West
you mean
End
the one
musical?
we just discussed?
The one we just discussed. I was genuinely thinking like that should be a musical. I was like just Googling and I was like, why is that not a so like that's so it's that, but it's a musical on stage.
Interesting.
Okay.
I
One.
think that's one of the
There's one
only
idea.
Neil Gaiman books that hasn't been adapted for the stage.
It should.
That's weird now thinking about it.
It's really good. It's really good. It's got Daredevil trying to cop off with a sun. It's
A star.
a star.
Stars and
Sorry,
suns are different.
A star. That's literally that's the story, though, isn't it?
Oh,
Yep.
no. I mean, Stardust, the latest encounter I've had with Stardust is I was telling one of my sort of adopted nieces, essentially 4-year-olds, they wanted me to tell them a story about stars. So I was like, oh, that's great. I remember Stardust, but I haven't thought about it in years, but that'll be fine. I can't really remember it, but as I go along, I know that I'll remember it. And now it was at the point where I was like, oh, and then the witch had the star lady on the table, and then and in that moment I went, this is not a story for children. Oh no, how do I get to the point of the witch is about to kill, and how do I backtrack that to make it 4-year-old friendly? So everybody was running for a long time as I was desperately trying to figure out how to like get myself out of that predicament.
I tell you what, though, Sean, that idea isn't as like kind of bad as you might have thought it was, because back when he was doing the publicity tour for Matilda the musical, Tim Minchin apparently expressed an interest in adapting Stardust to be a West End musical.
I'm not.
So
I'm just
you're
a
in
genius.
good company.
Yeah. So I was thinking that should be a musical, and it's literally called Stardust. Like, it's
Okay.
it's there. But then I also thought like they're not gonna let me have that because that's like
No,
it's-
what's your second idea?
So my second idea is, this is one for the people who studied theatre at Aberystwyth University. This is a very niche idea, right?
Oh, good.
And Joe's gonna say, why is that? That's not theatre, but Jem will understand why it's theatre. So Gemma, this is my second idea.
Okay.
Richard Downing does a lecture on intergalactic dust.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
There's-
for listeners,
no,
and for Joe.
no. We're not explaining that one. Right. That one's
Stilts
that
is
one
all
that
I'm
one's for
saying.
the ABBA people. That one's for the ABBA people. Right. Third idea is I'm gonna completely butcher butcher the names, right? Crystal and Jean Cloud. Do we know them? Do you guys know them? Right. They're famous artists, and their big thing is like I might get like a lot of like hate because I might be like completely missing the point of their art. They change spaces that you interact with. So one of the things that they do a lot is they like to wrap buildings.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of their big famous ones is like they just like wrap a building.
Oh, like wrap as in WRAP.
Yeah, they don't wrap on a building. They wrap it up like a present, but like a big present. And it's so you see the outline and you sort of see like or they'll put like big like bits of material through a space and like you walk on it and you're like, oh well, this is a walkway. So my idea is I'm gonna rob their style. I'm gonna wrap like important buildings in the world. So we're talking like the UN building, Houses of Parliament, big buildings, big famous buildings, and then on them buildings we're gonna project constellations, and it's just gonna look nice, and then like the whole point of it is gonna be that we are the intergalactic dust in between all these constellations.
I love that idea. Keep in mind that I love that idea, Sean.
If
strapping a GoPro to a dog is not theatre, how is this theatre?
It's more art, Gemma. It's more art.
Yeah, I was going to say, so far, Sean, you've pitched to us a direct adaptation of a book that isn't the article we're looking at. A lecture by someone I haven't heard of, and something that is objectively not theatre.
But it's all about it's about people interacting with their space. I'm doing a metaphor where we are the dust, and it's not about outer space, but it's about space and how we interact. But yeah, it's more art.
I pitched a show about interacting with Popeye Village, and that wasn't a show.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Jem, I don't set some kind of double standard where I'm not calling Sean out on this.
Yeah.
At least let that be noted.
Hey. I know these are poor ideas. I've really let myself down. I feel like I've been on a roll, and this week it's just been like
What was your fourth idea?
I think it's because I like sci-fi so much. Like picking one, it's been so hard to just not be like, well, I'm gonna do that episode of Star Trek on stage, or I'm gonna do like the whole Red Dwarf saga on stage. It's been so hard. My fourth idea, which is definitely theatre, I want to do a Robert Wilson inspired opera about the creation of the universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for anybody who doesn't know Robert Wilson, I definitely
Google
say go check him out, because it's quite difficult to explain, but it's visually it's visually stimulating.
And there's Joe on the computer. So the reason why I'm saying Robert Wilson, and it's more Joe. If you Google Einstein on the beach, okay. So the reason why I'm going to say a Robert Wilson inspired opera is because he likes massive space, visuals, like really different colours that could be anything, lots of like meaning, and also he likes the use of time. He likes really just like, I want to do this for 7 days, so I'm going to do it for 7 days, and it's like, if I use all of that, really not being afraid to use time as an element of theatre to show the creation of the universe, starting with the Big Bang and ending with, I don't know how it ends, we don't know yet. There is a Red Dwarf episode about the end of the universe and what happens after. It's really good. It's called Backwards, guys. Season 3, episode 1. It's brilliant.
Sean,
Yes.
Can I ask? Because you were like, I've got 4 ideas, but I'm not going to do the fourth one. I'm going to pitch you these 3. Why'd you pitch 3 non-theatres and then you have a really good idea for the 4th one?
Because you guys talk a lot, right? And I had no ideas. And then my idea of like, I knew I was gonna talk for about a minute, so I needed to pace it out a little bit. Plus, I want to get the idea out there that Stardust should be a musical, because it should be a musical. And if enough people start saying it, then it might happen. Look at the Snyder cut of Justice League. We're getting that in March. We want the musical cut of Stardust here now.
Yeah.
By the way,
Tim Minchin, get on it.
Can I point out that you were trying to explain Robert Wilson to me? You could have just mentioned he made 3 musicals with Tom Waits.
I mean, I don't think that helps. That helps a lot of the audience understand.
Robert Wilson. I gave you his name.
If it doesn't help you at home, just go listen to the Tom Waits album Blood Money, based on his unfinished musical version of Wojciech. It's great.
No, it's.
Oh yeah, now I know who you're talking about.
I'm dropping Wojciech in here. I know theatre.
Joe was like, "Oh no, this is."
I didn't drop the
of...
Wojciech when I was talking about Punch Drunk the other day, did I? No. It is good.
Okay, so on that note, Sean, shall we try and smush?
I'm so antagonistic today. Oh, I hadn't finished.
You really are.
Finished yet, Jem.
Oh, sorry.
I know you guys just. I try and tell you my ideas, and you guys just talk over me all the time.
We don't care, Sean.
Ooh, the tables have turned. The bullying is focusing on Sean this episode.
What bullying, Gemma? There is no bullying in this podcast.
There's no bullying. It's just banter.
It's only banter.
It's just friendship.
You're just forgetting it's just banter.
So let's cut to the smush. So we have Joe's very in-depth, minimal romance at the royal court that focuses on the moments in between arguments as you see something falling apart. So those moments in between. Then we've got my planetarium-based story of the discovery of dust and stardust. Then, Sean, I'm going to stick in... Do you want to pick the 4th one as your idea that you're putting in for the smush?
Yeah.
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 So then we have a Robert Wilson inspired
Hey,
opera
Sean,
about galaxy.
Yeah.
Don't feel pressured into picking just one. If you want to pick all of them and make Jem try to smush, go ahead.
No, because I don't want the idea of Stardust the musical to be muddied by everyone else's ideas. I want to keep it pure.
Yeah. Okay, so how are we going to smush
It's
these
such a
ideas?
good film. You could even get Take That. Was Take That, weren't it? You get Take That to come back and write all the music. Yeah, we don't need Tim. We can get Gary Barlow.
You know what? Well, I think I figured out how to smush this.
Have you? Was me talking about Take That inspired you?
No, you just provided me the time in order for my brain to work, so thank you. Teamwork.
Is it kind of like Robert Wilson, Philip Glass inspired musical based around a crumbling relationship set in a planetarium?
No, close, but no.
Can we do that though? Can we seriously? Why is that not it? Gemma, he's done it.
It's no. I think it's set in a planetarium, and it is the moments. I like the idea of the moments in between arguments, the moments in between discoveries would be great to look at. So the moments in between the arguments that you have in a lab, we can make these two people partners in life as well, so a romantic partnership, and you see these moments in between. You never see the celebration too much of you've actually discovered things. It's now back to the lab, it's now back to finding, back to searching. So that's taking Joe's idea and shoving it into a planetarium, but then putting the whole thing out. We're gonna get a huge planetarium, and we're doing it in the style of Robert Wilson. So using the color, Robert Wilson uses amazing soundscapes as well, doesn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
He is like he is like the king of like post dramatic. It's like everything, boom, sound, lighting, time. That's the one he uses a lot. It's all about that time.
And I like that. And I like the idea that Robert Wilson's stuff really encompasses this the breadth and the sheer size of multiple galaxies of the universe. His style really encompasses that sense of epic, and using that idea of time. So then it's not just an hour performance. It's something where we can start to play with time, because these discoveries don't happen very quickly. They don't. We hear about them, but if you actually look into the discovery of this, these people were working on it for decades. Trying to find and prove this theory that somebody had come up with based in math. When we finally find evidence to support these theories, it's taken a long time. So that's how I would smush these ideas, is use the fact that Joe's pitch really can get to the heart and soul of relationships, and this relationship that you can have. Set it in the planetarium because I like planetariums. And do it very much with the epicness and time bending of Robert Wilson. How does that sound?
And I think that there is... I was just going to say, Sean, there is something to be brought in of your idea of doing it based around the Big Bang itself, because this notion that stating that in the beginning there was nothing and then there was the Big Bang, that implies that very much it is a contradictory idea to the notion that space is ever expanding, because if there is a beginning, it implies there is also therefore an ending. And using that kind of could be used to deepen the metaphor itself.
And also, there's this idea that in the beginning there's nothing, then there's a big bang and the flurry of activity, and then it's this long process of building this universe together.
Yeah.
Is a metaphor for relationships.
It's like how in the beginning there's excitement and there's love, then it all falls away.
Then there's just work. No, it's joyful and it's beautiful and it's great.
And all that's left is the same glazed over expression I have when Sean talks about Star Trek.
Sean, you had, I hope, a good alternate smush.
Fuck you, Joe. I thought we were friends, but now you've just...
We are. I've just made it very clear. I'm never watching Star Trek.
Yes, you will. I'm going to get you to watch an episode of Star Trek. And and do you know what? It's going to be a really shit one now. I'm going to make you fucking watch Voyager now.
Sean,
yeah, I went there, Star Trek fans. I didn't say Enterprise. I meant Voyager. Yeah. Ooh.
Sean, what's your alternate smush?
Well, I forgot it. It's the in between of watching all of my show ideas of this couple, and you see them talk about how shit they are and how it was a bad idea to watch them.
We can't have 2 shows in a row be about someone pitching bad ideas.
No,
Yeah.
I liked Joe's, and then I did seriously. I liked both of your smushes. I think I prefer Joe's because it was much quicker. But yours is really deep. It's yeah. I'm not. Do you know what, guys? I'm not really used to like this podcast, like producing like some serious like deep theatre with like meaning. I think
We can do it.
I know it's just
You
threw me
forget
off a little
I'm the
bit.
person that for his script writing masters that he has produced a TV pilot all about suicide and chaos theory. You forget who you're dealing with sometimes.
No, I know
You
exactly
forget
who I'm
that shit
dealing
that
with,
you
and that is why I don't expect serious stuff.
No, you forget that Joe's not part of the other podcast we do, Happiness Anonymous, because he makes it too deep.
Don't bring it.
And depressing, but too deep.
Is this the point where I remind you again that happiness is actually a trick by your brain?
Shh, Joe. Shh.
If you want to hear
I'm
more
feeling very
ideas
happy
like
right
that,
now because we've come to Smushes.
No.
We've got a really good Smushed show. And I think it actually...
worked this
I
week.
would really like to see that show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I-
say one thing controversial now, right? And I know Gemma's not gonna like this because she likes space, but I don't think it needs to be set in a planetarium. I feel like Gem's only putting it in there
No!
because she likes space.
No, but planetariums are magical.
You know, to make it more space themed, can the two central scientists / romantic partners in it be played by Sir Brian Cox and Sir Brian Cox, the actor and the scientist?
Yes, we clone him. We clone him.
There's two
We
different
give the
people.
universe.
Gemma, it's two different people. You don't need to clone them.
Oh, wait, there is, isn't
Yeah,
there?
there's Brian Cox, the actor, who was in Manhunter as the original Hannibal Lecter and is currently fantastic in the programme Succession. And there's Brian Cox, the scientist.
I remember now. I just got too excited at the idea of having two Brian Coxes in the world.
And then the after credit scene has Bill Nye for some reason.
Bill Nye and Bill Nye.
Yes, yes, that's the sequel.
That's the American touring production.
Yep, obviously.
Okay, so anybody who's listening, let us know whose pitch you thought was best, whether it was one of our individual ones or whether it was the Smush.
No, Gemma, you're asking the wrong question here. Right. Anybody else who is still listening at this point, get the word out that Stardust needs to be a musical.
Yes. Yeah.
I need a cool hashtag. I'll think of something for next week. We'll get it going.
It-
I will get it going. By the end of this series, I will get at least 3 people to tweet that.
And if you have any other ideas for how to adapt various Neil Gaiman properties for the stage, put them in the comments below. Maybe you think American Gods should be an opera, or maybe you think they should make a physical theatre piece out of Sandman. Who knows?
I like Sandman, Joe.
I know you do.
Yeah, it's good.
So,
Hey,
Joe.
Gemma, do you have any good Sandman stories?
no, I just like the beach as well. Joe, do you want to look up and find us, hit that random button and find us the next article? And Sean, do you want to do your spiel?
No, I don't. But I will because I'm a professional. Right, let me just get up where, I'm clearly prepared every week with me notes. Where to find us? Hey guys, I'll tell you where to find us while Joe gets up his internet page. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at OFITD, and sometimes, I think there's one, but I can never remember which one it is. It's OFITD_arts.
Instagram. That's Instagram.
It's Instagram. Cheers, Gem. It's Instagram. But if you just Google it, it comes up. I don't get why. We just come up first. And you go on to Linktree /One Foot in the Door. You'll find it there. You'll find our website. You'll find
Linktree /OFITD.
OFITD. That's what I said.
You said /One Foot in the Door.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I've got this. If you do all that, basically, go on to the last week's episode and see what I said at the end there. Do that. But we're all there. There's links to everything. We don't make it hard to find our stuff. Even though if you see the views, it may seem like it's hard to find our stuff, but it's not. Yeah, so we're there, Linktree. It's all on there. It's all in the description for this. So if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on a podcast, it's going to all be there. So you just click on that and it will come up on whatever device you are. You click, I'm going to see what they're doing on Facebook. Click that. I want to see. Yeah, it's all there. So it's also on our Linktree. You'll get links to the other projects we're doing. So like Gem's podcast. It'll all be there, hopefully, by the time she edits it. But who knows? Joe, are you ready?
Yeah, ready to go.
Oh, I haven't said us.
But before I do,
I haven't said us. Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
If you want to follow me on Instagram and that, it's still Shawnee B. If you want to follow Gemma and find out the interesting things she says when we're not on the podcast, you follow her at.
OFITD_Gem.
And if you want to follow the legend that is Joe, what did I need to do, Joe?
Well, if you want to follow me, you can do so at NotJoeRonchka. That's NotJoeRaczka. That's NotJoeRaczka. And you can also find me on Canon Father with Joe and Joe, new episode coming sometime this year, and the Boat Club podcast. Just look for Boat Club Improv wherever you're getting this podcast right now. And would you like to know what we're going to be doing next week?
There's a little part of me that doesn't want to know. Just wants to just.
In
like...
that case, bye.
Tell us.
All right, next week we're going to be doing the Fleet Finch. The Fleet Finch Fleet Model 16 is a two-seat tandem training biplane produced by Fleet Aircraft of Fort Erie, Ontario. There are a number of variants mainly based on engine variations, and over the several years beginning in 1939, a total of 447 Finches were built, nearly all of them, 431 of them, for use as elementary trainers in the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan during the Second World War.
So
we've got World War II training planes.
Is a biplane the one where like the wings are like there
two
and
engines.
you're there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a
Like
plane.
old school planes.
I'm very excited about this because I don't live too far away from the RAF museum. So I'm very excited about
You
this.
You can't go and have a look there. You're not allowed to leave your house. It doesn't give you any advantage.
I can look at the photos that are from the times when I've been before.
We're making sure that at least the police have to listen so they can get dirt on Jem.
Yeah, they know where she's going.
Well, thank you everybody for listening. And well done for getting this far.
They tried it this week, but intergalactic dust can be anywhere, so they didn't know where she was gonna be. But now they know.
Whether I was
RAF
going to be
base.
on the planet or not. Thank you guys for listening. Let us know on all of the different platforms and means whose pitch you thought was best. And if you think you can outpitch us, let us know that. But until then, bye!
All right. We out, pitches.